nation. Hebrew kingdom building.
Vayikra 9.
You ready, Mushan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, verse 1.
Yep, verse 1.
Vayikra, chapter 9, verse 1. And it came to pass on the 8th day.
On what day?
On the 8th day.
So this is on the 8th day. Remember, they had 7 days of consecration. Now we're on the 8th day. Let's go.
That Moshe called Aharon and his sons and the elders of Israel. And he said to Aharon.
All right. So Moses, he had called some people. He had called his brother Aharon and Aharon's sons. So that was Nadab, Abihu, Ithamar, and Eleazar. Aaron and his sons were set apart to be the Kohen. Aaron and his sons. It was Aaron and literally 4 sons. That was it. Was set up to be the Kohen for the tabernacle 24/7. Well, not really 24/7, but they were in charge of offering up the sacrifices, which was all day, every day, all day. You know what I'm saying? They had to make sure that the fire was lit and going 24/7. Y'all saw Ahmet trying to keep the fire going here. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff that the Kohen had to do, but there was only 4 of them. I guess you could say 5, including Aharon. And it's time for them to do the work. They had a work ahead of them, boy. They had a work ahead because y'all notice, like, once you get further into the scriptures, they set up a whole setup to where there's a lot of people that's maintaining, tending, and keeping. I know the temple was a lot bigger, of course, but the sons of Aaron were a lot more numerous by that time, so they had a lot more people to deal with. I mean, to handle the work. But in the beginning, you had them 5. That's all. That was the only people who were qualified to offer up an offering. You got people. There's 3 million people in the wilderness. You can imagine that. People coming bringing the peace offerings, bringing the Shalom offerings, bringing the mincha, bringing the olah. They're the ones who was in charge of doing that work. The other Levites wasn't allowed to offer up a sacrifice. That was a lot of work. Now, when it came time to move the camp, things like that, the other Levites came and played with that. When it came to maintenance and things like that, they come to play in that. But as far as the real priestly work, it's the Aaron and the 4 sons. That's it. They had a work ahead of them. And Aaron is probably about 83. You know what I'm saying? I think he was about 84, 85 by this time. Because remember, this is about, it said it was on the 8th day. This was a year after they came into the wilderness. Y'all remember Moshe was 80 when that was when he was called. So Aaron might have been a little older than that. Ain't no telling. I don't know. It matters how long it took before the plagues hit and all that happened. But Moshe was called at 80 and Aaron was 3 years older than him. That's where I'm getting the numbers from. The burning bush stuff happened when he was 80. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So Aaron was about 84, 85, I would guess. Could have been a little older. We don't know for sure. But the point is, it don't matter. The point is he was old. That's the point. He was old. So I actually don't believe Aharon was really doing a whole lot of work like that. It probably was really his sons. His sons were, if Aaron's 85, that means his sons were grown. Most likely. I know some people can get down at old, but most likely his sons were probably 50s, 60s. They were old too. Most people had children when they in their at least to 20s and stuff. Maybe his youngest ones might have been a little younger. But Nadab and Abihu were the older ones. They probably were at least in their 50s. I would say possibly even in the 60s. I'm just thinking about how old my children would be when I would be when I get that, if I was to be that, you know what I'm saying. Right. All right. Yeah. So keep all that in mind. Keep all that in mind. So this is a big deal. So you got Moshe. He called his brothers. He called his brother, his nephews, and the Zakim. All right, verse 2, let's go.
Verse 2, and he said to Aharon, take for yourself a young bull as a sin offering, and a ram as a burnt offering, without blemish, and offer them before Yahuwah. And to the children of Israel you shall speak, saying, take a kid of the goats as a sin offering, and a calf and a lamb, both of the first year, without blemish, as a burnt offering.
So both for the first year. What? Think about it. This is the first year in the wilderness, the second month after they came in the wilderness. They had to have a lamb that wasn't born in captivity. Ooh, man. There's another verse that talks about how there's certain sacrifices couldn't have like a yoke, it had to be an unyoked animal. Yeah, I remember that. There's another verse that talks about that, I believe, somewhere in Torah, if I remember right. But no, this had to be animals that were birthed since their freedom. They ain't want nothing that was born in Egypt. Animal of the first year. Let's keep going.
Verse 4, also a bull and a ram as peace offerings to sacrifice before Yahuwah, and a grain offering mixed with oil. For today Yahuwah will appear to you.
He will what?
Appear to you.
He will appear to you. That word appear is really like he will put his eyes on you. He will look at you. What's that Hebrew word? Ain't it like something like something with a ra'ah or something like that? Let me pull it up. Yeah, ra'ah, right. That means to basically see or to look at you, to put his eyes on you. So Yahuwah will appear to you. Yahuwah will appear to you. He will put his eyes on you. It's interesting, y'all, when you think about what happened in Pesach last year. When Yahuwah spoke and said, well, my eyes are on you. When we were offering up them sacrifices, them offerings. Verse 5.
Verse 5. So they brought what Moshe commanded before the tabernacle of meeting. And all the congregation drew near and stood before Yahuwah.
So the tabernacle of meeting in Hebrew is the ohel, the tent, moed. Y'all know what moed means, right? Basically the tent of appointed times. It's the tent of appointed times. So keep that in mind. Let's keep going.
Verse 6. Then Moshe said, this is the thing which Yahuwah commanded you to do. And the kabod of Yahuwah will appear to you.
Man.
And Moshe said to Aharon, go to the altar, offer your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and for the people. Offer the offering of the people and make atonement for them, as Yahuwah commanded. Aharon therefore went to the altar and killed the calf of the sin offering, which was for himself. Then the sons of Aharon brought the blood to him, and he dipped his finger in the blood and put it on the horns of the altar and poured the blood at the base of the altar. But the fat, the kidneys, and the fatty lobe from the liver of the sin offering he burned on the altar, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe. The flesh and the hide he burned with the fire outside the camp.
Do verse 10 again.
But the fat, the kidneys, and the fatty lobe from the liver of the sin offering he burned on the altar, as Yahuwah commanded Moshe.
Keep going.
Verse 11. The flesh and the hide he burned with the fire outside the camp. And he killed the burnt offering, and Aharon's sons presented to him the blood, which he sprinkled all around the altar. Then they presented the burnt offering to him, with its pieces and head, and he burned them on the altar.
Keep going.
And he washed the entrails and the legs, and burned them with the burnt offering on the altar. Then he brought the people's offering, and took the goat, which was the sin offering for the people, and killed it and offered it for sin, like the first one. And he brought the burnt offering and offered it according to the prescribed manner. Then he brought the grain offering, took a handful of it, and burned it on the altar, besides the burnt sacrifice of the boker. He also killed the bull and the ram as sacrifices of shalom offerings, which were for the people. And Aharon's sons presented to him the blood, which he sprinkled all around the altar, and the fat from the bull and the ram, the fatty tail, what covers the entrails and the kidneys, and the fatty lobe attached to the liver, and they put the fat on the breast. Then he burned the fat on the altar. But the breast and the right thigh Aharon waved as a wave offering before Yahuwah, as Moshe had commanded. Then Aharon lifted his hand toward the people.
Read that again.
Then Aharon lifted.
Right before that.
Verse 21. But the breast and the right thigh Aharon waved as a wave offering before Yahuwah, as Moshe had commanded.
Stop there. The breast and the right thigh. Okay. So let's take a look at some here. I'm going to add this before I forget. I'm not going to say this right now. I'm going to hold it. Keep going. What verse are you on?
Verse 22.
All right.
Then Aharon lifted his hand towards the people, blessed them, and came down from offering the sin offering, the burnt offering, and shalom offerings. And Moshe and Aharon went into the tabernacle of meeting, and came out and blessed the people. Then the kabod of Yahuwah appeared to all the people.
Man.
And fire came out from before Yahuwah and consumed the burnt offering and the fat on the altar. When all the people saw it, they shouted and fell on their faces.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. So it's interesting with the peace offering, what we see there. But let's go ahead and go to chapter 10. So this is a big event. So this was a big event, and the kavod of the Most High came down, and the fire came down and consumed the offering, right? All right, let's go to chapter 10.
Vayikra, chapter 10, verse 1. Then Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aharon, each took his censer and put fire in it.
Do y'all see what's happening here? This is all part of the same event. This is all part of the same event. So this is the 8th day. The fire of Eluah came down, and everybody's praising and worshiping. This is a visitation. He said, do these things because I'm going to come and appear to you. I'm going to come and see you. We know that when there's a visitation from the Most High, that it could be a visitation for blessing or for judgment. You see what I'm saying? And so the Most High appeared, his kavod appeared, the fire consumed the offering in front of the people, and they worshiped and praised. So they were in the middle of worshiping and praising. Go ahead and read verse 1, and this is what happened.
Verse 1. Then Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aharon, each took his censer and put fire in it, put incense on it, and offered profane fire before Yahuwah, which he had not commanded them.
Which he had what?
Not commanded them.
Woo. So everybody was giving Yahuwah all this praise and worship and honor and glory because they watched the kavod of Yahuwah come upon it. It was a pekad in a sense. And the reason why the Most High responded is because read verse 16 in chapter 9, verse 16 real quick.
Vayikra chapter 9, verse 16. And he brought the burnt offering and offered it according to the prescribed manner.
According to what?
The prescribed manner.
So that's why it was through. And the Most High accepted the offering so much so that fire came from the Shamayim and consumed the offering. And so while that's going on, the stuff that they had moved forward on in the prescribed manner, Nadab and, let's go to chapter 10. Nadab and Abihu came through to do an offering which Yahuwah did not command them to do. And the strange fire is literally a foreign fire. That word is like for a foreigner. It's a fire that did not come from Yahuwah. He did not command them to do that. Verse 2.
Verse 2.
Read verse 1 again.
Verse 1. Then Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aharon, each took his censer and put fire in it, put incense on it, and offered profane fire before Yahuwah, which he had not commanded them. So fire went out from Yahuwah and devoured them, and they died before Yahuwah.
Y'all see what's happening here? So the fire that came down and consumed the offering, this was all happening when they tried to do that. So that fire came and consumed them too. See what I'm saying? So fire went out from Yahuwah and devoured them, and they did what?
Died before Yahuwah.
Man, that's all they only had 5 people to do the priestly work. And just like that, that's half of the workforce gone. So now you're down to 3 to do that priestly work every day. Man. How they gonna be able to maintain it? How they gonna be able to maintain all the offerings? All the prescribed burnt offerings they got to do day by day, or Reb and Boca. It's only 3 of them. Verse 3.
Verse 3. And Moshe said to Aharon, this is what Yahuwah spoke, saying, by those who come near me, I must be regarded as Kodesh, and before all the people, I must be glorified.
They really should have been probably on the ground praising the Most High at that time. Keep going.
So Aharon held his shalom.
Yeah, that really probably more would be better translated as Aharon just kept silent. He didn't, he just didn't say anything. He kept silent. He stayed silent. Verse 4.
Verse 4. Then Moshe called Mishael and Elzaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the uncle of Aharon, and said to them, come near, carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp. So they went near and carried them by their tunics out of the camp.
Carried them by what?
Their tunics.
That's ketonet, coat of many colors. They carried them by the ketonet. That's the coat of many colors. That's the Kodesh coat. That's the coat of covering. That's the same coat. It was a ketonet that Yahuwah put on Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve had tried to cover themselves with fig leaves. Remember that? And Yahuwah had gave them a keto net instead. Replaced it with a keto net. That's a coat of many colors. It was probably made of goat skin. Scripture says it was made of skins. It's probably goat skins. And you saw in the story of Jacob. The story of Joseph, the story of Joseph. He had a keto net. He had a coat of many colors that his brothers were jealous of. It's like a coat of covering. It's a special Kodesh coat. You only see that primarily in Adam and Eve. You saw that with Yosef and the priests. Something that Yahuwah had set apart. It was a special garment for the priests. And they had to be carried by the keto net. Think about that, man. That's interesting. Because wouldn't it make more sense put them on a stretcher or something? Or maybe get two people, one person get them on one side. That might not have worked, though, because they was burnt up. You would have tried to do that, pieces might have fell apart. You know what I'm saying? So they had to do like that and just, I'm with it. And there was his uncle and his brothers really couldn't do that because his brothers had to do the priestly work. And you can't really touch the unclean. That'll make you unclean to be able to do the priestly work. Let's keep going.
Verse 5. So they went near and carried them by their tunics out of the camp, as Moshe had said.
Oh, hold on. They carried them where?
Out of the camp.
Where?
Out of the camp.
Go back to chapter 9. And let's look at verse 11. Read verse 10 and 11.
Vayikra chapter 9, verse 10. But the fat, the kidneys, and the fatty lobe from the liver of the sin offering he burned on the altar, as Yahuwah had commanded Moshe.
In the prescribed manner. Keep going.
The flesh and the hide he burned with fire outside the camp.
Where?
Outside the camp.
Man. So they basically became a whole burnt offering in a sense. See, the hide, that's the skin of the animal. Remember the keto net in Adam and Eve was the skin of an animal. And so in a whole burnt offering, a sin offering, my apologies, sin offering, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's the sin offering, where the hide would be burnt, and the flesh would be burned outside the camp. That's a sin offering because the whole burnt offering, the flesh is burnt on the altar. So they basically became like a sin offering, man. Go back to chapter 10. Y'all see that? Okay. Read verse 5 again.
Vayikra chapter 10, verse 5. So they went near and carried them by their tunics out of the camp, as Moshe had said. And Moshe said to Aharon and to Eleazar and Ithamar his sons, do not uncover your heads nor tear your clothes, lest you die, and wrath come upon all the people.
In other words, those were mourning practices. Basically, do not openly mourn. Now, they probably were sad, they probably were, sad on the inside, but you're not. So the tearing of the clothes and the uncovering your head was a way to show everybody that you're mourning. It's the way to open. No, you're the priest. No, you got to do the work. You got to keep your game face on and do the work. You got to be strong for the people. So no, you can't be tearing your clothes, crying and doing all that before the people. Do not mourn. Do not mourn. And it'll come later in the Torah, actually, that the priests are prohibited from tearing their clothes in mourning. Priests got to be strong. Y'all got to understand the priest is like the general of the army. Y'all know the priestly garments, that's warfare armor. Think about a general in the military. They're going out, they're leading the army. You can't cry when you lose people. You got to be strong for the people. You probably really sad. There's probably stuff you might take losses and it'd be really, really sad. You might want to. You got to keep your game face on to continue to advance and be ready to really give yourself for the people if you have to. That's the breastplate. It's like the generals even in Babylon. They're gonna be. They call them well decorated. They go, oh, that's a decorated soldier.
That's right.
That's the Kohen. It the decorated of Yisrael. Who's the high priest in the Shamayim?
Yahusha.
Ain't he coming as the head general ready for battle?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Ready to execute vengeance? Leading the charge for war? Yeah.
That's right.
That's what the high priest is, man. Why do you think the high priest, every day they are cutting? Every day they are killing. Every day they are shedding blood. They are warriors. They are generals. That's why Dawood was a priest. That's why Dawood, he was very set apart. He had a priestly like role. And the Most High was like, no, you got too much blood. You got too much blood on your hands, though. The Levites were known for being like serious when it comes to the Most High. They got that role because of the, I submit, it's because of the golden calf incident. The Most High said every man called, the 3,000 was slain. It was by the Levites. Let's keep going.
Vayikra, chapter 10, verse 6. And Moshe said to Aharon and to Eleazar and Ithamar, his sons, do not uncover your heads, nor tear your clothes, lest you die, and wrath come upon all the people. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which Yahuwah has kindled. You shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle of meeting, lest you die, for the anointing oil of Yahuwah is upon you. And they did according to the word of Moshe.
Come on, keep going.
Then Yahuwah spoke to Aharon, saying, do not drink wine or intoxicating drink, you nor your sons with you, when you go into the tabernacle of meeting, lest you die.
Go ahead and skip to verse 14.
Vayikra chapter 10, verse 14. The breast of the wave offering and the thigh of the heave offering you shall eat in a clean place, you, your sons, and your daughters with you. For they are your due and your sons' due, which are given from the sacrifices of shalom offerings of the children of Israel.
So the shalom offerings are really through the fat, and there's different parts that are offered up to Yahuwah. I think it's like the fat primarily. I believe maybe some of the organs, but then the rest is eaten amongst the mishpakim. But the thigh and the breast is given to the priest. That's their due from the shalom offerings or the shalomim offerings. Keep going.
Verse 15. The thigh of the heave offering and the breast of the wave offering they shall bring with the offerings of fat made by fire, to offer as a wave offering before Yahuwah.
As a wave offering before Yahuwah. So looking at the breast, so in the Shalomim offering, the breast of the word is chazeh. Chazeh, that's het, zan, hey. It's basically the revelation of the cutting within the gates. It's the revelation of the cutting within the gates. It's interesting that this came out about separating the so they did all the offerings, but it wasn't until the cutting happened that it was specified in verse 14 for the breast and the thigh to be given to them. It was solidified right after the cutting. And that's what Hazeh means. It's the revelation of the cutting within the gates. It's the revelation of the cutting within the gates. It's pretty much primarily always used in terms of a sacrificial. It's the breast. It's the y'all know the if y'all ever had like the chicken breast, that's the that's the big piece of the chicken. I know in a lot of homes it's tradition that the man of the house, the priest of the home, he gets the big piece of chicken. Nope, y'all get the other ones. Y'all get the other pieces. The bread, we gonna tell you that for Dad. Y'all, no, I ain't gonna go into that. Yeah, I'll bring it up. Y'all ain't seen that Chris Rock a long time ago when he was talking about the big. He like, well, Dad don't get nothing. The dads don't get nothing. All we get is the big piece of chicken. All we get is a big piece of chicken we get on. That was hilarious. But anyway, go to Psalm 16. There's only about 2 people that were old enough to know about that one, but it's Stu. That's Stu. Y'all don't need to know about none of that. Y'all don't need to know about none of that. Psalm 16. Y'all there? All right, let's do it. Verse 1, let's get it.
Psalm 16, verse 1. A michtam of Dawid. Preserve me, O Eloah, for in you I put my trust.
Yes.
O my Nefesh, you have said to Yahuwah, you are my Adonai. My tube is nothing apart from you.
Yes.
As for the Kodashim who are on the arets, they are the excellent ones, in whom is all my delight. Their sorrow shall be multiplied who hasten after another Eloah. Their drink offerings of blood I will not offer, nor take up their names on my lips. O Yahuwah, you are the portion of my inheritance and my cup. You maintain my lot. The lines have fallen to me in pleasant places. Yes, I have a tube inheritance.
So, that word in verse 5 where it says, you are my portion of my inheritance and my cup, that's basically saying that Yahuwah is the portion. And that goes back to the pieces of the sacrifice, that word manah. Manah is the pieces of the sacrifices. When the Most High said that the heave offering, that the thigh and the thigh and the breast, was the portion for the priest, and that's the manna or manar. Dawood used that same language to say, Yahuwah, you are my portion. Like Yahuwah, you are my portion and my strength. So another way to look at the breast is like what I was talking about, the breastplate. The breastplate that's on the priest. The breastplate had the 12 tribes of Israel on it. The names of the tribes of Israel. It even had the Urim and the Thummim on the ephod. It had the it was for the priests to literally take on the sins of the nation in a sense. Just like the high priest in the Shamayim, Yahusha, right? Took on the sins of Israel literally. And so the breast of the shalom offering would in turn go to the priests who wore the breastplate, which symbolizes them atoning for the nation and also basically not receiving the sins of the nation, but it's like, yeah, it's. I just want to. I don't even want to. I want to word it exactly how the Torah says it. Exodus 28. Y'all don't got to go there, but I'll just put it out here. Okay, Exodus 28:29. So Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel on the breastplate of judgment over his heart when he goes into the holy place as a memorial before Yahuwah continually. That's not what I was looking for, though. Let's see, verse 30. And you shall put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be over Aaron's heart when he goes in before Yahuwah. So Aharon shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel over his heart before Yahuwah continually. Now, that's very interesting because, all right, if you look at in Leviticus 9, the word for fat is chaleb. That's literally chet and then leb. What does leb mean in Hebrew? Yeah. It's like a gate or a wall for the heart. You can almost look at it as like a covering for the heart. That's the fat. If you look in Leviticus 9, the fat that was offered up to the Most High, that was put on the altar for the shalom offerings. That's chaleb, chet lamed bet. The breastplate. That's the breast of the shalom offerings. Because remember, the shalom offerings, you don't really offer. That's the only thing you really offer up is the fat that covers certain organs, and maybe some of the organs, if I remember right. But the rest of the food is distributed amongst the mishpachah, except the thigh and the. I don't know why I have a hard time remembering that. The thigh and the breast. I don't know why. Yeah, the big piece of chicken. So that's the connotation of the breast. It's the revelation. It's the revelation of the cutting within the gates. You have almost 50% of the workforce cut just like that. And then the Most High said you need to go ahead and set apart the breast and the thigh for the priest. Let's look at thigh. Because thigh is very interesting. So it's the breast and the thigh. Y'all know the breast, that's what covers the heart. That's the breastplate of judgment. That's the breastplate for the priests. A lot of times, even with generals, they put their bars over the heart, don't they? Don't they do it over the left side? Or, it's over the left side, ain't it? No, it's over the right side. Oh, okay, so they don't. So in Babylon, they don't put it over the heart. It is the left side in the Air Force. In the Air Force, it's the left side. So maybe it's right in the arm. No, it's the same side. Oh, it's the same. We ain't gonna debate. We just gonna go with it. Ah, okay. But the thigh is very interesting because now you're looking at the thigh. So the breast is like your heart. The breastplate, bearing the iniquities, bearing the judgments of the nation, etc., etc. The garden of the heart. And that goes back to them not being able to mourn, not being able to tear their heart, tear their clothes. As a priest, you got to be an expert at guarding your heart. You got to be an expert at that, of keeping your composure, guarding your heart. Think about a general. How do you make it the general? You able to keep your cool while everybody's shooting around you? People getting chopped down, you, and all you can think of is in the midst of that, you just leading the people, you just trying to get the victory. You can keep your composure. You don't lose it. Could you imagine if the general is like this? They start shooting. Oh man, everybody finna get cut down, man. Now the general is supposed to be the one that when somebody start acting like that, he's supposed to be the one to be like, hey man, come on man, what you doing? Get up and fight. You got to be an expert at guarding your heart though. You got to be an expert at guarding your heart, your breast. So as far as the thigh, it's an appointed time associated with eating. Or it's a consuming that is established by it's a consuming that is established by Yahuwah at the Ohel Moed. You know what the Ohel Moed is, right?
Tabernacle.
So it's a consuming that is established by Yahuwah at the Ohel Moed. That's the thigh. Y'all get what I'm saying? It's a consuming that is established by Yahuwah at the Ohel Moed, at the appointed time, at the tent of appointed time. It's a consuming that is established by Yahuwah at the Ohel Moed. That's the thigh. And so if you read the rest of verse 10, it goes into how they had to eat the thigh at a specific place. They had to eat it at a clean place. It was a consuming that was it was a form of consumption that had to happen at the tabernacle of meeting. It had to be at a kodesh place where they was eating this type of offering. The thigh, if y'all can think about it, the thigh represents a lot. That's your power, your strength. That's your walk. But it's the power of your walk. Your thigh is probably one of your strongest muscles on your body. That word can also mean leg, but it's the word soak. You get that leg, you do that offering, you get that offering, that goes to the priest. They get that big piece. They get that thigh, they get that leg of lamb. Some sprinkles on there. I know y'all hungry too. Y'all like, man, come on, man. My bad. But it's the thigh. Think about it. Think about the thigh. Think about the thigh. Abraham said, hey, put your hand under my thigh and make us oath to me that you are going to go and you're going to bring a wife for my son, not from this land, but you're going to go back to my family to get a wife for my son. That thigh was important. What about Yaakov? Y'all remember Yaakov? He wrestled with the Ruach. Well, he's wrestled with Yahuwah. It says in the scriptures, but then it says it's a Malak. Y'all know how that go. And then what happened? He boop and hit the socket of his thigh, of his hip, and then he limped for the rest of his life. But it said something interesting. It said no longer did anyone in Israel eat that part of the animal anymore. No longer. It makes you wonder if that's why certain parts were not allowed to eat of the sacrifice that had to be offered up. I don't know. The thigh is about your walk. It's about the promise. Remember, the thigh is really the legs as well. That word is thigh, legs. That can be your calf muscles. So it's all of that. And so that's also about dancing and praise. Do you know that dancing and praise is a priestly work? Ooh, don't nobody think it like that. Dancing and praise is a priestly work. The thigh was set apart and designated for the priest. And I submit to you that that's an aspect of it. Because that dancing and praise is isn't the priest the only ones who can offer up sacrifices? Right? And isn't dancing a way that you can offer up a sacrifice to Yahuwah, right? I didn't think about that. Only the sons of Al-Haran can offer up sacrifices. Let's take a look at something. Let's go to we almost done, actually. Y'all just bear with me a little bit more. Let's go to 2 Samuel 6. 2 Samuel 6. Oh, I said we almost done. I shouldn't have said that. I forgot there's another thing I need to get on before we wrap it up. Yeah. 2 Samuel 6. And let's go to verse 14, Mishpaka. Let me know when everybody get there. I want everybody to read along on this. Okay, let's get it.
2 Samuel 6, verse 14. Then David danced before Yahuwah.
Then David did what?
Danced before Yahuwah.
Okay, let's keep going.
2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 14. Then David danced before Yahuwah with all his might.
Man.
And David was wearing a linen ephod.
Ooh, hold on. Only the sons of Aaron wear that. He was moving in a priestly role when he was dancing here. Why did he wear the ephod while he was dancing? Y'all see this? All right, let's keep going because it's going to get more interesting.
Verse 15. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of Yahuwah with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. Now as the ark of Yahuwah came into the city of David, Michal, Shaul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and whirling before Yahuwah.
He was leaping and whirling, y'all. He was going in because that is a priestly work. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell y'all something, man. I don't know if I told y'all this, but the Most High showed me. I seen David dance, and the Most High showed it to me, man. It was a while ago. I seen it, man. It was crazy, and it was crazy. It was through. It was through. I know Mushal Kawal had seen him dancing before too. The Most High showed that to him in that vision that he had in the kingdom. I was surprised, man, the way he was dancing. It was like It was almost kind of like how Hezekiah be doing with the footwork, but it was still a little different. Still different, but it was like it was just like some crazy footwork, though. I was like, man, and he was just going in, and in the vision, in the dream, he was like, he was like mid-aged in the dream. He might have been he might have been maybe 40, between maybe 40 and 45. He was kind of light skinned, but not really real light skinned. Maybe like maybe a little lighter than Dawid. Maybe a little lighter than Dawid. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, snap. Like almost the exact color of Dawid. Like maybe like a little lighter. He had a beard like Dawid and everything. He had that's how I knew he was like between 40 and 45, because it was like the beard was like kind of gray. You know what I'm saying? It was like gray. And he was doing this dance. I didn't know what that dream meant for the longest. I was like, man, what was this with this dude? This Ock was dancing, man. He was going in, though. You know, it was like I was walking down the street. I ain't going to go to the whole dream. But the point is, Ahmed was in the dream, too. And this Ock was, man, he looked like he was about, he looked a lot, that's crazy. Now the more I'm thinking about it, he looked a lot like Dawid in the assembly, y'all. He looked very similar. He was just skinny, though. He was thin. Like, he was smaller built. Like, he was smaller and shorter. He wasn't tall like Dawid in the assembly. But, man, he was going in. Like, the footwork was cold. I was like, man, hold up. I was wondering for the longest what that dream meant, man. And then the Most High had showed me recently. It was just recently. I had this dream a long time ago. The Most High showed me recently what the dream, and it just came to my memory. And then he confirmed it to me. And that was Dawid. I was like, oh, snap. So let's keep going.
2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 16. Now as the ark of Yahuwah came into the city of Dawid, Michal, Shaul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King Dawid leaping and whirling before Yahuwah, and she despised him in her heart.
In where?
In her heart.
Oh, so she ain't guard her heart. She ain't guard her heart. Let's keep going.
Verse 17. So they brought the ark of Yahuwah and set it in its place in the midst of the tabernacle that Dawid had erected for it.
Tabernacle of David was erected. Yep. So this is showing you that the dancing and praise to the Most High as a sacrifice is a part of the Tabernacle of David. This is showing that. Keep going. What did David do after that?
Then Dawid offered burnt offerings
and what else?
And shalom offerings.
Isn't the shalom offering the offering where they give the thigh to the priest?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, the breast and the thigh set apart to the priest? Keep going.
Then Dawid offered burnt offerings and shalom offerings before Yahuwah. Verse 18. And when Dawid had finished offering burnt offerings and shalom offerings, he blessed the people in the name of Yahuwah Sabaoth.
What did he do?
He blessed the people in the name of Yahuwah Sabaoth.
Then he did what?
Then he distributed among all the people, among the whole multitude of Israel, both the women and the men, to everyone, a loaf of bread, a piece of meat, and a cake of raisins. So all the people...
That is a shalom offering. That's how shalom offering works. It's an offering to the Most High where certain parts is offered up and the rest is distributed amongst the people. They offered up so much offerings, the shalom offerings, that they were able to distribute meat to the whole nation.
Man.
But you see how his dancing was associated with the shalom offering. I submit that when you do a shalom offering, you probably should be some praise and some dance involved in there. That's probably why the thigh, or one aspect of why the thigh and the breast is offered to the priest.
Mushal, can I say
Go
one
ahead.
thing?
Yeah.
That's interesting that we're speaking about that shalom offering. Towards the last part of praise and worship, everybody had the opportunity to offer up an offering. Everybody. If you didn't go, you got called up. It was your turn to make that offering.
And I know y'all notice that primarily what happens. Who do you see dancing primarily? It's the leadership, right? In all 7 assemblies, it's the same way. That's because that actually is a priestly work. It's what the priests are supposed to do. It's a priestly work. It's like that in all 7 assemblies. Then once the leadership goes in and offers up goes and does an offering through a dance or praise or whatever, then if things are through, if all is through, then y'all start seeing, to get the mishpachah to go in and go in and do their thing, because this is a priesthood. That's why that's a big part of this nation, is giving the sacrifices with dance, through dance. That is a priestly work. Y'all know what? After praise and worship today, I was feeling it all up in my legs, man. I was, man. We went longer than usual today. Well, we just went longer today, I should say. You don't even want to identify what usual is. You don't even want to try to do that. But I felt it all in my legs, though, boy. Calf muscles. That word for thigh can also mean calf muscles, especially if you look it up in the Hebrew, especially when it's referring not to the sacrificial animal, but when it's referring to man. It could specifically mean that as well. It's a general word talking about the leg. And so the priest got the big piece of meat, because what does the priest also represent? The bridegroom, don't it? The high priest it represents the bridegroom, Yahusha. So the man of the house get the big piece of meat. Let's go to 1 Samuel, y'all. And let's go to chapter let's go to chapter 3. No, chapter 2, verse 12. Y'all ready? Chapter 2, verse 12? All right, let's get it.
1 Samuel, chapter 2, verse 12. Now the sons of Eli were corrupt.
They were what?
Corrupt.
Did y'all know that the sons of Eli were sons of Aaron? Yet they were corrupt. Let's keep going.
Verse 12. Now the sons of Eli were corrupt. They did not know Yahuwah. And the priest's customs with the people was that when any man offered a sacrifice, the priest's servant would come with the 3-pronged flesh hook in his hand while the meat was boiling. Then he would thrust it into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot, and the priest would take for himself all that the flesh hook brought up. So they did in Shiloh to all the Israelites who came there. Also, before they burned the fat, the priest's servant would come and say to the man who sacrificed, "Give meat for roasting to the priest, for he will not take boiled meat from you, but raw."
So y'all saw in the Torah around the Shalom offering, you're supposed to offer up the meat. You're supposed to offer up the fat. You're supposed to burn up on the altar. And then the meat goes to the priest, the breast and the thigh. But it is not supposed to be raw. It's the meat that was ready to go. So keep going.
Verse 16. And if the man said to him, they should really burn the fat first, then you may take as much as your heart desires.
They're talking about a shalom offering here, most likely.
He would then answer him, no, but you must give it now, and if not, I will take it by force.
Man. Man. Damn. Keep going.
Verse 17. Therefore, the sin of the young men was very great before Yahuwah, for men abhorred the offering of Yahuwah. But Samuel ministered before Yahuwah.
Skip to verse 22.
Verse 22. Now Eli was very old, and he heard everything his sons did to all Yisrael, and how they lay with the women who assembled
Go ahead.
at the door of the tabernacle of meeting.
Y'all hear this? Man. This is like being at Mount Wisdom Episcopal Pentecostal Baptist Church, boy. Man, he laying with the women at the assembly. He's stealing the sacrifices. He's stealing the offerings. It's wild out here, man. That's why you don't want priests set up that don't know Yahuwah. They was moving with some Nadab and Abihu type stuff. Keep going.
Verse 23. So he said to them, why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings from all the people. No, my sons, for it is not a true report that I hear. You make Yahuwah's people transgress. If one man sins against another, Eluah will judge him. But if a man sins against Yahuwah, who will intercede for him? Nevertheless, they did not heed the voice of their father, because Yahuwah desired to kill them.
Man, we can stop right there. And so we saw that here's a situation and a point in history, in Israel history, where it was abused. You know, you had a portion that was set apart for the priest, man, but then you had a wicked priest that didn't know Yahuwah. Man, they was like, yeah, just give me all that. Come on, oh, you not gonna what? You said you're gonna burn the fat first? I know the Torah say that, but what did I say? You do what I say, or we're gonna have some problems. That's what he was saying. Because they were see, one thing about the high priests is this was a high order, so they had authority. He could have took it by force for real. He could have when they got the servants to come, and they could have been like, oh no, bring it out. No, what you say? But the Torah said, and they could have put hands on him and took his stuff. And they the high priest. The high priest was like the Supreme Court judge. What you gonna do to them? You know what I'm saying? Is they word against yours? They just would have been like, and it's probably way more to it than this. When you that wicked, oh no, they done drummed up false charges on some people. Oh yeah, it probably was some people who came up to them and tried to speak against them, and probably even some prophets probably tried to speak against them, saying y'all are wicked, what y'all doing? Y'all going against Torah, and they probably drummed up false charges on righteous people. When you got people that are in office like that. And so anyway, that's just showing how that can also be, at least there was an example where it was abused when you got people that don't know Yahuwah in those positions. And so these were also to be wave offerings. Now the shalom offering and the heave offering, if y'all read it, was to be waved before Yahuwah. That's an interesting thing as well. That's an interesting concept as well. So I want to look at wave as well, because it's a very interesting word, the word tanupa. a wave offering is the breast and the thigh is supposed to be waved as a wave offering on the shalom offerings to the Most High, or the heave offerings, which I believe is a teruma. Tanupa basically is a sign that the seed is secured in spirit and truth. It's a sign that the seed is secured in spirit, that's the revelation, and truth, that's the word. Y'all get it? It's a sign that the seed is secured in spirit and truth. That's what the wave offering is, a sign. It's almost like a signal. It's a sign that the seed has been secured in spirit and truth. What did Yahusha say in John 4? Read that out loud. It's right here on the screen. Alua is spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit. The wave offering was a sign that the seed is secured in spirit and truth. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. We're not going to go to Vayikra 11. But we know that Vayikra 11 is about the food laws, right? All right, so think about this. Think about this, y'all. Y'all to think for a second. Remember when I said the tabernacle is basically the Garden of Eden? So let's go to, well, I got it here. Look at the screen. This is Genesis 2, right? It's the Garden of Eden. Go ahead and read this. Read this.
What verse is that?
Verse 15. Y'all read along.
Bereshit, chapter 2, verse 15. Then Yahuwah Elua took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and keep it.
Just like he took man and put him in the tabernacle to tend and keep it, right?
Verse 16. And Yahuwah Elua commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat.
Keep going.
But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, of Tub and Rahah, you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die.
So that makes sense that now Yahuwah have put man in the garden, the tabernacle. As soon as they started the tabernacle, remember the tabernacle just started. They just started. The fire came down from the heaven and consumed the offering. And as soon as they just started the tabernacle, the next chapter, now he's telling them what food to eat and what food you cannot eat. Leviticus 11. The Garden of Eden, Yahuwah took man, put him in the Garden of Eden, and right after that, right after he put man in the Garden of Eden, he gave them the food laws, didn't he?
That's right. That's right.
This is proving what I'm trying to hone in on, is that the tabernacle is the Garden of Eden as well. Man, you can't make that up at all. Now, remember when I said that also Noah's Ark was the Garden of Eden? Let's see if we can see the same thing here. Let's go to Genesis 6. So if you go to Genesis 6, when you start 13, the ark is prepared. They're ready to go. And then as soon as the ark was done, it was finished, it was ready to go. Look what verse 21 says.
Bereshit, chapter 6, verse 21. And you shall take for yourself of all food that is eaten, and you shall gather it to yourself, and it shall be for food for you and for them.
So he starts talking about food. Right after the ark was established and ready to go. Then you go to chapter 7, and the flood starts, right? In chapter 7, go to chapter 7. Look at verse 1. Now the flood starts. Go ahead and read it.
Bereshit chapter 7, verse 1. Then Yahuwah said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation.
So it's time to come into the ark now, just like it told the priest to come into the tabernacle. Remember he told the priest, you cannot leave the tabernacle right now? Come in, do not leave. Look what the next verse is right after that.
Verse 2. You shall take with you 7 of each of every clean animal, a male and his female, 2 each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female.
Do y'all see this, y'all? You have Noah being established on the tabernacle, the ark. And then Yahuwah brings in and mentions the clean and unclean food laws. Y'all see that? There's no possible way you could make this up. There's no possible way you could try to construct this. This is all Yahuwah. He's screaming at you that this is the Garden of Eden. The tabernacle was his Garden of Eden, the ark, and of course the Garden of Eden, the Garden of Eden. You know what I'm saying? Look at what the word for garden is. Yeah, I already know you. You already know I'm about to go. The word is gone, right? Yeah. So, and so you got Leviticus 9, right? You see the priestly work starts to happen. The priests are set in. They start and then the fire from it because they just started in chapter 9. That's why the fire came down. They were all praising Yahuwah. And then chapter 10 is basically the continuation of that because that's when Nadab and Abihu get killed. But after they get killed, they continue on with the offerings. That's why Moshe got mad they didn't do the sin offering like they were supposed to because they was trying to finish up. It's trying to do business as usual, even though brothers just died. No, we got to keep going. And the next chapter, okay, here's the food law. This you can eat, this you cannot eat. This is what's clean, this is what's unclean. You saw the same thing that happened in the Garden of Eden, the same thing in the ark. So, garden, gone. Very easy word. Y'all can probably break this down before I even tell y'all, huh? Let me see if somebody get a try. Let's see if somebody do a try on this. Nathaniel, somebody. We get one try? That's a good one. I thought about that too. The lifting up of the seed. Anyone else? I'll give it one more. What else does the gimel mean other than lifting up? That's close. Nope.
The gathering of the seed.
That's close. That's close. Go ahead, Bart. Oh, wait, say it again. Walk, do what? Oh, man, y'all got some good ones. All right. It's where the seed gathers together to get water. Y'all don't remember Yiska's class? How the gimel can also mean to gather into the waters. Because the camels have the connotation of them. Oh, they gather together to the waters. That's why you say in the scriptures many times the camels were gathering together to the wells and things like that. And so the garden is actually it's where the seed gathers together to get water. It's where the seed gathers together to get water. That's what really the garden is. It's a place. So that's why you see that the tabernacle is where the seed gathers together to get that water, to get Yahusha. Remember, Yahusha is the living water. It's where the seed gathers together to get that revelation, to get that water, the water of the word. It's where the seed gathers together to get the word. You know the water represents the word, right? Okay, here goes an example. Yeshayahu 58, there's several other examples. We'll just do a couple for time. Yeshayahu 58, let's get it. Benayahu.
Yeshayahu chapter 58.
Verse 11.
Verse 11. Yahuwah will guide you continually and satisfy your nephesh in drought and strengthen your bones. You shall be like a watered garden.
Like a water what?
A watered garden.
That's gone.
And like a spring of water whose waters do not fail.
There you go. The garden is a place where the seed gathers to get water. Let's go to Song of Solomon chapter 4. Everybody, let's go to Song of Solomon chapter 4, Mishpacha. That's why the Most High wants Torah land to be flowing with water. Yes, sir. All right, Song of Solomon chapter 4. You ready? Start with verse 1. Let's get everybody there. Is there anybody not there? Raise your hand. Hopefully y'all not fibbing in the Shabbat. Okay. Oh, okay. Song of Solomon 4, verse 1.
Ready?
All right, let's get it, y'all.
Song of Songs, chapter 4, verse 1. The beloved, behold, you are fair, my love. Behold, you are fair. You have dove's eyes behind your veil. Your hair is like a flock of goats.
So let me help y'all with this, because people don't really say you are fair. You are fair. Now what he's saying is you fine. You are fine. All right, let's keep going.
Your hair is like a flock of goats going down from Mount Gilead.
Man.
Your teeth are like a flock of shorn sheep, which have come up from the washing, every one of which bears twins, and none is barren among them. Your lips are like a strand of scarlet, and your mouth is lovely. Your temples behind your veil are like a piece of pomegranate.
Man, hold up.
Your neck is like the Tower of Dawid, built for an armory, on which hang 1,000 bucklers, all shields of mighty men.
Yes, sir.
Your two breasts are like two fawns, twins of a gazelle, which feed among the lilies. Until the day breaks and the shadows flee away, I will go my way to the mountain of myrrh and to the hill of frankincense.
Man.
You are all fair, my love, and there is no spot in you.
Y'all think this is talking about a female? Y'all got to look at this from Morocco eyes. Your neck is like the Tower of David. He said, y'all think about this, y'all. Come on now. Ruako lives. Y'all thinking something different right now. You have dove's eyes behind your veil. There's dove's eyes behind. Your hair is like a flock of goats. That sounds like Kodesh land. That sounds like Kodesh ground.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Your teeth are like the flock of sheep. This is Kodesh ground right here, man. He said it's like a flock of sheep, which they all bearing twins. They all are fruitful. You see all this symbolism around fruit. Your temple is like a piece of pomegranate. Man, there's fruit all over this person, this woman. Pomegranate for a head. Your neck is like the Tower of Dawid built for an armory. What? Which hang 1,000 bucklers, all shields of mighty men. And then it talks about gazelles, which feed among the lilies. Oh, snap. Read verse 7 again.
Verse 7. You are all fair, my love, and there is no spot in you.
Tamim. Ooh. Aren't we supposed to be a bride without spot and blemish? Keep going.
Verse 8. Come with me from Lebanon, my spouse. With me from Lebanon. Look from the top of Amanah, from the top of Shinar and Hermon, from the lions' dens, from the mountains of the leopards. You have ravished my heart, my sister, my spouse.
Oh, is that okay? That's just like Isha or Cody. My sister, my wife.
Right.
Do y'all remember Isha or Cody? In the tabernacle, the curtains were attached one to another, one to another. That word in Hebrew for one to another is Isha or Cody, Isha or Cody. That's like my sister, my wife. And here it says my sister, my spouse, because it's not using Isha. Using a different word for wife, but for spouse. But it's still meaning the same thing. Your spouse is your wife. So this is almost giving like a connotation to the like tabernacle language. My sister, my spouse. I told y'all that you don't want to marry someone unless she is your sister. I told y'all that.
That's right.
Your spouse is supposed to be your sister first. You see, it's in that order. My sister, my spouse. Supposed to be your sister first. Then your spouse. That's why Abraham, his wife was his sister. That's why Yitzhak, his wife was his sister first, etc., etc. That's the symbolism. That's the symbolism of that. That's supposed to be your sister first. Then you'll be able to treat her right. Keep going.
Verse 9. You have ravished my heart, my sister, my spouse. You have ravished my heart with one look of your eyes, with one look of your necklace. How fair is your love, my sister, my spouse. With one link of your necklace.
So this is a bride that's adorned with jewels. Oh, man, hold up. That sounds like the promise. Keep going.
Verse 10. How fair is your love, my sister, my spouse. How much better than wine is your love, and the scent of your perfumes than all spices. Your lips, O my spouse, drip as the honeycomb. Honey and milk are under your tongue.
Hold on. Now, wasn't the promised land called the land of milk and honey? They're giving it away here. Keep going.
Verse 11. Your lips, O my spouse, drip as the honeycomb. Honey and milk are under your tongue, and the fragrance of your garments is like the fragrance of Lebanon. Verse 12.
So he said basically the fragrance of your gardens, the fragrance of your garments is like the fragrance of Lebanon was known for its trees. So it's like he's basically saying you smell like the woods.
Right.
Keep going.
Verse 12. A garden enclosed.
Oh! Say it again.
A garden enclosed.
So he's calling this person that's his wife a garden enclosed. Keep going.
Verse 12. A garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse. A spring shut up, a fountain sealed.
Didn't we say that the word for garden, it's about where the seed gathers together to get water? Y'all see how this lines up? Why, as soon as he called her a garden, he goes into a spring that's shut up,
Right.
a fountain that's sealed. This is where people gather to get water. She is a garden enclosed. Isn't our bodies the tabernacle of the Ruach HaKodesh? Keep going. Look what else it said. Verse 13.
Verse 13. Your plants are like an orchard of pomegranates with pleasant fruits.
This is talking about a garden. This is the Garden of Eden. This is talking about land. This is talking about Israel, the bride of Yahusha. This is prophetic about the bride of Mashiach, I submit. This is prophetic about us. Man. And the land reflects that. The land reflects us. It's a garden, a Kodesh ground, a fruitful land. Y'all know, man, all praise to the Most High. Shout out to the business team. So the business team, they had made this product that's good for, I think, like everything.
Everything.
You can put it on your forehead. You can put it on your hair. Put it on your beard. You can put it on your big toe, man. It's good for everything.
Everything.
But it smells, it smells really through, but it smells like roses. That's what he's talking about. Your scent is like the scent of the lilies or the pomegranates or something he was saying. What did he say? A Lebanon. That's what he said. Fragrant henna with spikenard. Verse 14.
Verse 14. We're in verse 13.
Verse 13.
Verse 13. Your plants are an orchard of pomegranates with pleasant fruits, fragrant henna with spikenard and saffron, calamus and cinnamon, with all trees of frankincense, myrrh and aloes, with all the chief spices. Verse 15, a fountain of gardens.
A fountain of gardens. Look what it says right after that.
A well of living waters.
Didn't Yahusha say that in me will flow living waters? The garden gone is where the sea gathers together to get water. That's why verse 15 says a fountain of gardens and a well of living water. Keep going.
Verse 15, a fountain of gardens, a well of living waters, and streams from Lebanon. Verse 16, the Shulamite. Awake, O north wind, and come, O south. Blow upon my garden, that its spices may flow out. Let my beloved come to his garden and eat its pleasant fruits.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Kodesh ground. That's talking about Kodesh ground. So the Most High will come to meet with you. Read that last verse one more time.
Verse 16, the Shulamite. Awake, O north wind, and come, O south. Blow upon my garden, that its spices may flow out. Let my beloved come to his garden and eat its pleasant fruits.
Let my beloved come to his garden. Who's my beloved? That's the bridegroom. What was the tabernacle? He said, the tabernacle, I want you to build this so I can come and meet with you.
That's right.
What did he say in the Torah portion? He said, today I'm going to come and I'm going to come and meet with you. I'm going to come and appear to you today. We are the bride. We are the bride. Aren't we the ones that's supposed to bear fruit? Isn't he coming to see our fruit?
That's right.
Hallelujah. All praise to the Most High.
Hallelujah.
Praise Yahushua. Praise Yahushua.
So we starting today at 7:47. Vayikra 10:6. And Musha said to Aharon and to Eleazar and Ithamar his sons, do not uncover your heads nor tear your clothes lest you die, and wrath come upon all the people. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which Yahuwah has kindled. So I was wondering if the wrath that would come upon all the people would be due to the nation no longer having functioning priests. Because if they wind up dying as well, Eleazar and Ithamar, then you'd only have Aharon, which is the high priest. So he operates even different from the priest. So the wrath, when I've read it times past, I just thought Yahuwah would punish the people because of the priests. But I wonder if they died, that he's just saying, look, there wouldn't be nobody left to intercede between me and the people. It's just a thought on that. So we got Beniyahu, Proverbs 4:23. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life.
Wait, hold on. My bad, man. Let me pay attention. Hold on. He said Leviticus 10:6.
Yeah, I can go back. Let me read again.
Yeah.
Okay. So Vayikra 10:6. And Musha said to Aharon and to Eleazar and Ithamar his sons, do not uncover your heads nor tear your clothes lest you die, and wrath come upon all the people. But let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which Yahuwah has kindled. So I was saying the wrath that would come upon all the people, I'm wondering if that's because the nation would no longer have priests. So you had, if Aaron, Eleazar, and Ithamar had started to mourn and they get wiped out, then what man is there to stand between Alua and the people? Because I guess when I read it the first time, I was thinking, well, I don't want to say the first time, but, up until today, I was thinking about, man, that means if they mess up, Yahuwah going to punish the people. But I just think that means they would have no more priests.
Man, that's real. That's real, man.
Yeah. So we got
That's real.
Beniyahu, Proverbs 4:23. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issues of life.
Oh, snap. That's it. Because the way that's worded is like springs out like water. You know what I'm saying? That's it, all right. That's it.
So we got Shimshon, Bereshit 24:2-9. But Abraham said to him, beware that you do not take my son back there. Yahuwah Elu of the Shamayim, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my family, and who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, to your descendants I give this land. He will send his Malach before you, and you will take a wife for my son from there. And if the woman is not willing to follow you, then you will be released from this oath. Only do not take my son back there. So the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master and swore to him concerning this matter.
Come. That's it. Yep.
Go ahead.
Man.
I was also gonna say, cause I think Ema just put it in the chat. I was just looking at how Morey was bringing out when the brothers was killed, cause I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, bro, if they got burned, they was ashes. But I think my thoughts think that Yahuwah consumed their insides, like fire through their insides and consume like they whole like organs. You can't live without your organs. That's how they was able to carry them out in the tunic, cause they whole entrails was set on fire for the sacrifice out of side of the camp, just like what you brought out, like how the liver and all of that, how to get, yeah.
I was just gonna lamb off of what he was saying, like he was saying the insides was burned. That's radiation, and radiation starts from the inside out.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That make perfect sense Because Melech Musha and Melech Yahusha was talking about how Yahuwah is pure radiation. So they went in there, and it's like them boys got, I think the word is irradiated.
When he was speaking that, when he was talking about making sure our vessels are prepared and ready to house or hold the power of Yahuwah, the electricity, um, it, it made me think about like self-destruct mechanism. Because he talked about our melanin in our bodies and our bodies being a conductor. And they talked about how if a wire or something is bad on a conductor, what happens? It'll blow up. You can burn up internally. And that sounds like what happened with them. They were vessels that couldn't hold the power of Yahuwah. And in turn, because they weren't prepared, they weren't ready, they basically became an offering, right?
That's what I was gonna say. That's interesting that you brought that up, Shimshon. I ain't never really thought about that because it does say here, it says fire came out and it consumed them. But then in 9:13, well no 10, yeah, fire went out from Yahuwah and devoured them, and they died before Yahuwah. And then they said, come near, carry your brethren from the sanctuary of the camp. So they went and they carried them by their tunics. So that means their flesh was left. And then when you go back to 9, verse 11, we saw about this out earlier. The flesh and the hide he burned with fire outside the camp. So it's interesting. I was like, man, I wonder if their insides was like consumed like an offering. Then the flesh and they hide went outside the camp.
Yeah, this reminds me of actually this passage in Zechariah 14. Let me just read it real quick. Zechariah 14, verse 12, Todah. Yeah, Grandma. It says, and this shall be the plague which Yahuwah will strike all the people who fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall dissolve while they stand on their feet. If your flesh is dissolved while you stand on your feet, that kind of. Their eyes shall dissolve in their sockets, and their tongues shall dissolve in their mouths. It shall come to pass in that day that a great panic from Yahuwah will be among them. Everyone will seize the hand of his neighbor and raise his hand against his neighbor's hand. Yeah, so it's like the organs is like burning inside the body. Zechariah 14, verse 12. Yeah. It said the eyes literally dissolve in its sockets. The tongues will dissolve in their mouth. Man.
That's exactly what radiation does. Yeah, I think Mushala said this. She said that's why Pesach gonna be so important. So, man, this makes a lot of sense. Yahuwah was showing me a couple of weeks ago, like with Pesach, we just got to make sure we got on the right garments now. Make sure we got on the right garments to hold the radiation we about to go through and get hit with. And that, you wouldn't call it radiation? With the kabod of Yahuwah we about to get hit with. Electricity. With the electricity of Yahuwah we about to get hit with. I'm married to a teacher. I'm used to this. This is fine. But the word that I think Uriel, the Most High was speaking through her earlier today, I think it was talking about this. It was talking about somebody like she was saying, the Most High was saying, I rebuke you. You trying to slide through or something like that. Like you're hidden. I can't remember, but it just reminds me of that. I had to go back and hear it. All right, Ima Oria, there is springs of living water in the garden. There the seed, the Kodesh, will gather. There the seed, the Kodesh will gather. Isha, that's what the scriptures from today. Ima Yashayahu. Interesting that Nadab and Abihu were consumed by fire and their cousins were able to carry them out by their tunics. How? We just went through that. And that's the end of the chat. Praise Yahushua.
Hallelujah. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Praise Yahushua.
Yeah, we gotta have on the. We gotta make sure we have on the right garments so that we'll be able to hold the radiation, the kabod, the electricity, and the amber of Yahuwah. Oh, don't say radiation. Radiation, it's a part of the light spectrum.
So I had kept that up on purpose for y'all. For y'all viewing pleasure.